how did you know that like music is what you wanted to do?
Wow, that's a good question. Well,
Thank you.
I guess from a pretty young age, I knew I liked listening to music and I liked singing and liked I don't know creating little tunes and making up songs and stuff. And I don't know. I think like a lot of artists, I was just looking for a way to express this mystery that I have inside of me. That I think a lot of artists are trying to do. And I tried different outlets. I tried painting, um, and I've had the most sort of success expressing that inexpressible thing through music. So it just feels like the most natural place for me to emote. I guess.
No, for sure. I mean, it definitely shows it in your work. So let's talk about like this project. Like how are you approached for this project? And can you take us, through a little bit of what made you say yes?
Sure. So Kevin, who's one of the producers, he's a friend of mine, and he mentioned my name to Laurel, and she liked the idea. So Laura Parmet, the director. So we met up.
Right.
This was kind of pre-pandemic, and we met up and hit it off. And I had told her what the kind of stuff I was interested in doing, and she told me kind of what the movie was about. And then the pandemic happened, and it kind of went away. And I thought maybe it wasn't happening, but sure enough, it came back, and I got to read the script, and it was just kind of really, really taken by the story. It's a really emotional story, a coming of age story,
Right.
and it's set in this against this conservative Christian background, but it's not judgmental about that either, which I think is pretty interesting and cool. Um,
For sure.
so yeah, it just seemed like a great opportunity. And the best part was, she wanted me to write a song for the movie, but the song actually plays a role in the story. It's part of the narrative, which is a pretty rare thing to get a chance to do. So once I heard that, I was all in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you were brought on as early as reading the script, I can't imagine. I saw the film last night and it was definitely it was very moving. It's a very heartfelt script. Which actually brings me to, you kind of touched on this, the creative process for this. So how close were you to the director? Like how much was she involved in the collaboration process and how much creative freedom were you given?
She gave me a lot of creative freedom, but I wanted her input right from the beginning, just because my job is to help her
Right.
express the mystery she's trying to express. So this is kind of new territory for me working in that way, but I really wanted to make sure I was doing the job, to help the narrative and help the movie. So right from the get-go, after I read the script, I was so inspired. I wrote a bunch of music and sent it to her, and
Nice.
she came into the studio and listened to it, and she really dug it, and she really thought it fit the tone of the movie. So from there, it was just kind of sending stuff back and forth. And with the song in particular, she sent me some songs she wanted that kind of had inspired her, and I took it from there and kind of tried to write a song that fit with the themes of the movie without being too heavy-handed, and again, just help the narrative as much as I could.
Right, right, of course. And was this so I looked online, I wasn't able to see, like I only saw that this was your first time composing. So were there any child like I guess you want to take us through like if is it actually like your first time composing and were there any challenges that you faced throughout this new experience?
Yeah, it was my first time scoring an entire movie.
Scoring, right, sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So that was definitely new. And like I was saying, what's most new to me is trying to bolster somebody else's vision. I'm very used to kind of working in my own bubble and kind of just working for myself basically. So that was different,
Right.
but really, really great, especially with someone as who has such a interesting vision as Laurel does. But like anything, I was really trying to do the best job I could to help what she was trying to do, and that was challenging sometimes because you can't always get inside someone's head, and there's a vocabulary that's mysterious about creative stuff where you try your best to express to somebody what you want, but especially if you don't have all the musical vocabulary, or you're just talking about creative things that don't have words to describe them,
Right.
it can be challenging. But she's such an open person and was so willing to kind of dig in with me on it that Yeah, it was really positive. It was a great experience.
Yeah, that's good. I was gonna ask, like, uh, I'm sure, scoring and music making are like very similar if you're putting together like an album. But I'm sure there's a lot of differences. So would you say that your song making process, like, did you have to change that up a bit or like kind of adapt since you were, like you said, you have to, kind of, it kind of follows the story, like the song that you made for the film.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. I mean, not just because it was trying to express something that didn't necessarily originate in me, but also because it does have a specific role in the narrative of the movie. So the song
Mhm.
is supposedly written by the father in the movie.
Right, right,
So to make it, one thing we really wanted to do is to make it sound authentic, like it was made, in the early '90s by a guy who was into country rock, basically.
right,
And what would that sound like? And that was fun for recording. We're like, so how would they have gone about it back then? So we tried to
right.
use recording techniques that would have been employed back then. So all the band was tracked live. It's one take because we imagined they didn't have a big budget, so they couldn't spend all day doing multiple takes. So
Yeah, yeah.
uh, we really tried to be true to it and let it be kind of loose, and it was fun doing that. I used a lot of analog equipment and older gear to make it sound like it's from that era.
You could almost compare that to like method acting. Like
Yeah,
you were
totally.
doing you were doing like a character, you were like getting into the character
Yeah,
of
method
the
recording. Yeah,
film.
that's a good way to put it. That's exactly what it's like, and
That's
that was
pretty
fun.
cool.
It was a really cool challenge, and what's most sort of gratifying about that is that I love the song that we made, but I wouldn't have made that song otherwise. So it kind of
Right.
it only exists because we were collaborating, which is cool.
Yeah, that is really cool. Wow, that's actually like so anyways,
Yeah.
it's crazy to think, like, to wrap my head around that, like the fact that like you, like, I mean, so many people like appreciate your music that like this song wouldn't have come out, like something that came out, like from you, like by you,
Right.
and then it wouldn't have been
Right.
done without this movie.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really cool to do a project where they're not just licensing a song from an album or something, but actually letting us
be
really
involved.
be part of the narrative. Yeah.
So let's talk about the film a little bit. What was your reaction to the finished film? And do you have any like, not favorite scenes, but like I guess scenes that that really stuck with you?
Um, so yeah, this was, obviously I'd seen the whole film before, but last night I finally saw it on the big screen, like in its finished form, and it
Nice.
was a totally different experience. And for
Right.
me, being the first, score I've done, it was like it was a red letter day for sure. Uh, there's so much I love about the movie. I mean, the acting is like just incredible.
Right. Oh yeah.
It's all just so good. I think my favorite stuff in that movie is sort of the subtle progression of that relationship that's at the center of it, where the main character Jem is so taken by Owen's charm and his sort of
Yeah.
worldliness, and then you slowly start to see how, he's not as perfect as we maybe thought at first. And I really love how subtly that unfolds, and I think that's a testament to Laurel's filmmaking. It's a really beautiful thing.
That's funny that you say that because the way that you describe it kind of reminded me of like what I like the way I would describe a film in film school. So that kind of actually is a good segue to like my next question of like like what how interested are you in movies like in general? And two, like what are some of your favorite movies of all time?
I'm very interested in movies.
Okay.
I think that's one of the ways I really started getting into music too. Was just you know, it's one of those things where they those two art forms get more powerful when they're paired together. And
Oh yeah.
good music lends so much to a movie, and a good visual can lend so much to a song. And I love how art forms work together like that. So that's really kind of the at the center of my interest as an artist. But my some of my favorite movies. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest comes to mind. I really love that
Oh
film.
yeah.
All of Kubrick's movies, pretty much. I love
Mhm.
Tarantino also. I'm kind of a sucker for that kind of stuff.
Nice, nice.
Terrence Malick's early movies. Badlands
Mhm.
is one of my favorite movies. I love everything though, man. Pee Wee's Big Adventure is a great
That's
one.
yeah. I mean, those kind of make sense when you think about them. Like they don't like if you think about them at first, they don't seem like they kind of mesh together, but those all feel like world building or like very world like the world that those movies are in and the characters are all very distinct.
Mhm.
So that's interesting that you like those, and that's like the two things that you picked out in the movie.
Yeah,
You
I,
like
I
the
think
characters,
there's a connection there for sure, and just
oh,
vibe.
for sure.
Like I love a movie. I mean, the vibe can't carry a movie, but when a great vibe is paired with a great script and great performances, that to me is
Right.
like the coolest thing, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's see. Oh, let's talk some music stuff. So, um, what are some of your, so I guess kind of like similar to the movie question, what are some of your favorite artists of all time? And then follow up, who are you kind of, listening to right now?
Wow. I love all kinds of music, and honestly, the people who I feel like are influenced me the most seem to change as time goes by. Like I'm very hungry in terms of listening. Um, right now, I'm still on a big Lee Hazelwood kick, just because I produce our records too, and I really respect his career, not just as a musician, but as a producer and as a songwriter. And
Mhm.
he was uncompromising and strange from the beginning to the end, and I think that's really admirable. He kind of just did what he wanted to do, and made some great records along the way. So I love that stuff. And similarly, Kate Bush is really a
Nice.
milestone artist for me, just because she's so herself, and I think
Right.
that's one of the greatest and most rare things in the world. She's such a genius creatively, and so uncompromising in what she's got in mind and her vision. And it's cool that she's having a little renaissance right now. It seems like
Yeah.
she had a big sink in Stranger Things or something. I didn't see it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
she's going to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year, and it's just awesome. And I love that she
Good
only
for her.
toured once in her career. She toured in 1979 and was like, "This isn't for me." I really respect.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's
yeah.
cool.
And right now, um, there's a few things I've been listening to. Really into Wise Blood right now. That stuff's really cool. And
Okay.
this guy King Cruel. I've been listening to that a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I'm hungry for it. I'm looking for new stuff, honestly. I tend to find my new records when I'm on tour because I have time sitting around on the bus and I can listen to music and go to record stores. So
Nice.
we're about to go on tour, so I'm hoping to make it a big mining expedition and come back with a bunch of new records.
Nice. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time that we have for.
Okay.
Um, but thank you so much for a fantastic interview.
Yeah, my
And
pleasure, man. Thanks for the cool questions. It was good
of
talking.
course, yeah, you too. And good luck with the tour and everything. And have a good rest of your day.